let's solve these. We're going to do 3 examples of solving equations or systems of equations by substitution. And I'm going to use color coding because I think it's a really nice thing to do. This first equation, you'll notice that I've already got this green equation is already solved for y. So I'm going to plug that right there. That's what y equals into this first equation for y. And when you do it, be really careful. Write out your equation, and I always strongly recommend that you use parentheses. So I'm going to plug in that green equation what y equals. Y equals x plus 3 according to the second equation. So when I write this out, I'm going to write x plus 3 instead of y, and that's what I did. I substituted that y in the second equation into the first equation. Now I've got one equation with only one variable, namely x. I've got x shows up twice, but it's the same x. So now I'm going to distribute that in. So I'm going to rewrite this equation. 2x plus 2x plus 6, see how I distributed that, equals 38. Now I'm going to solve this equation for x. 4x plus 6 equals 38. 4x equals, I'm subtracting 6 from both sides, 32. X equals 8. 32 divided by 4 is 8. That's my x coordinate. Now to find my y coordinate, I plug that into either equation. I might as well plug it into the bottom one because that's easier. 8 plus 3 is 11. So my point is 8, 11. And the way I check it is I rewrite that first equation, that red one, 2 plus 2 equals 38, and I'm going to plug in the x and the y in there. 8, 11. And let's see if that worked. 16, 2 times 8 is 16, plus 22 to 16 plus 22 equal 38. Yes, it does. So it's correct. Let's try another one. In this case, I've got both equations solved for y. So I'm going to take this red equation right here, that 3x, and I'm going to plug that in for the other y right there. So this green equation now is going to look instead like, I'm going to use parentheses. There's my y. I'm going to substitute. There's my green equation, but notice I didn't write the y because I'm going to substitute the red equation. What does y equal according to the red equation? 3x. Now I solve that equation. Notice I've got one equation with one variable, so I'm going to add x to both sides. So 4x equals negative 32. Again, this is easy. Divide by 4, x equals negative 8. If x equals negative 8, plug that in here. Be careful. What does y equal? Well, that's a negative 32 minus a negative 8. And what's minus a negative? Plus a positive. What's negative 32 plus 8? That's going to be negative. This is all y, by the way. Y equals negative 24. So my solution is negative 8 comma negative 24. Let's check if that's right. I'm going to check by rewriting the first equation. Since I didn't use that to plug in, you use the opposite equation. When I rewrite y equals 3x, remember y is negative 24 and x was negative 8. Make sure you're plugging the right ones in. Does negative 24 equal 3 times a negative 8? Yes, it does, so it's correct. So there's my answer. Negative 8 comma negative 24. One more. Notice that this green equation is already solved for y. The red equation is not solved for x or y. So we're going to take this green equation and plug that, which is y, in for the y in that top equation. So take my red equation and rewrite it, leaving a space with the parentheses. I'm going to need a lot of space to plug that in. Plus x equals 6. Notice how I rewrote that entire thing. Plug that in, that green equation in, that right there, that's going to be 1/3 x plus 4. Now I distribute, I'm changing to black so you can see, distribute that and that. When I distribute that in, 3 times 1/3 is just 1x. I don't even need to write it, but I will. 1x plus 3 times 4. Don't forget to distribute that 3 to the 4 also. 12. So there's my distributing. Plus x, because that was there already, equals 6. Add the x's together. What's 1x plus 1x? 2x. 2x plus 12 equals 6. Subtract 12 from both sides. 2x equals negative 6. Divide both sides by 2. X equals negative 3. That's my x coordinate. What's my y coordinate? Plug it in. Y equals 1/3 times, I'm plugging negative 3 in for x to that second equation, and I'm going to solve for y. What's 1/3 times negative 3? Negative 1. What's negative 1 plus 4? Positive 3. So my point is negative 3 comma positive 3. Let's check it. Let's check it by plugging it into that red equation at the front. I'm going to write 3. I'm going to be plugging a y in there, plus I'm going to plug x in there, equals 6. See what I did there? My x, remember my x was this first one, that's my x right there, so that's going to be negative 3, and that's going to be positive 3. What's 3 times 3? 9. And what's 9 minus 3? 6. So it works. Checks out. Oops, I shouldn't have circled that, because that's not the answer. I was just checking it. This is your answer right here. Negative 3 comma 3. That's how you solve by substitution.